You know how sometimes something just catches fire online? A picture, maybe a short clip.
Oh, absolutely. It happens all the time.
Well, that's exactly what we saw around May 4th, 2025. Suddenly, everyone was talking about this sighting in Uttarakhand, Jim Corbett National Park.
Right, specifically the Fado tourism zone. And it wasn't just any sighting.
No, not at all. It was this absolutely massive tiger. They're calling him Hercules.
Hercules. And the big question that immediately popped up, the one that's sort of dominating everything, is could he actually be Asia's largest tiger?
Exactly. So look, if you're curious and want the real story without wading through everything yourself, you're in the right place. We've gone through the news, the social media buzz, everything we could find.
Yeah, we're going to unpack this whole Hercules phenomenon today. What's fact? What's maybe a bit of hype? And what does this giant cat tell us about tiger conservation overall?
Let's get right into it. The Legend of Hercules. Where did this start?
Well, it really gained momentum fast on social media. X, formerly Twitter, was buzzing. Someone dubbed him the Bahubali of big cats, after the movie character. Super strong.
Bahubali.
Ugh.
That paints a picture, doesn't it? And then the claims started flying Asia's largest.
Exactly. That's the hook. That's what makes everyone stop and click. People were throwing around some pretty astounding figures.
Yeah, the numbers are kind of hard to believe. Around 300 kilograms and 7 feet long.
It's enormous. 300 kilos. I mean, that's heavier than some small cars, isn't it?
Or like, all the leftovers from your uncle's massive holiday feast combined, maybe. And 7 feet. Imagine that stretched out.
It's staggering. So the name Hercules, it fits. It feels right for an animal of that reported size and presence.
Definitely. Calling him, I don't know, Snowball just wouldn't have worked.
Not quite the same impact, no. The name itself adds to the mystique, the legend building around him.
Okay, so to really get why this specific tiger in this specific place is such a big deal, we need to talk about Jim Corbett National Park itself. It's not just any park, is it?
No, not at all. It's hugely significant. Jim Corbett is, well, it's India's very first national park, established way back in 1936.
Wow, 1936. That's quite some history.
It is, and critically, it now holds the highest density of tigers anywhere in India. We're talking over 260 tigers packed into its nearly 1,300 square kilometers.
So finding a big tiger there maybe isn't that surprising, but finding one this big...
Well, exactly. And the Fado tourism zone, where Hercules was spotted, it's known for good sightings. It's a prime area. So it makes sense that if such an impressive individual exists, he might be seen there.
And the park's namesake, Jim Corbett himself. Fascinating figure. He started as a hunter, right?
He did, a very famous hunter of man-eating tigers, actually. But then he had this incredible transformation, became a huge advocate for conserving tigers, for protecting them.
You can even visit his old house, I think. It's a museum now.
That's right, in Kalatungi. It really shows that shift in thinking. And that shift eventually led to things like Project Tiger, launched in 1973.
Ah, yes, Project Tiger. Crucial initiative.
Absolutely. And now we have the National Tiger Conservation Authority, the NTCA, which oversees all the tiger reserves and conservation work. They're the main body now.
At Uttarakhand, the state where Corbett is located, it's doing pretty well with tigers overall, isn't it?
It really is. It has the third highest tiger population in India now. The 2022 census put it at 560 tigers.
560. That's amazing progress.
It is, but, and this is important, that success creates its own challenges, particularly human-wildlife conflict. More tigers, more people. It's a complex situation we definitely need to touch on later.
Right, a crucial point. But sticking with Hercules for a moment, let's tackle that big claim head on. Is he really Asia's largest? How do we even know?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the honest answer is, it's really hard to say definitively right now.
Why is that? Can't they just, weigh him?
Slight chuckle. If only it were that simple. Weighing a wild 300-kilo tiger isn't exactly practical or safe for the tiger or the people involved. It usually only happens if an animal needs to be sedated for, say, treatment or relocation.
Okay, makes sense. So how do they estimate size then?
It relies heavily on visual assessments by experienced forest staff and researchers. They look at body condition, overall bulk, maybe compare him to known landmarks and photos. Pug marks, the footprints, can also give clues. But it's still estimation.
So that 300-kilo figure is more of an educated guess based on how he looks.
Pretty much. And it would be exceptional. Typical male Bengal tigers usually top out around 260 kilograms, maybe a bit more. Females are smaller, so 300 kilos puts them way up there.
Are there historical examples of tigers that big?
Oh, yes. Legends and even some documented cases exist. Jim Corbett himself wrote about a massive tiger called the Bachelor of Palgar back in the 1930s, estimated around 270 kilos.
The Bachelor of Palgar, another great name.
Isn't it? And more recently, maybe people remember Jai, a huge, very popular tiger from Maharashtra. He was estimated at possibly 280 kilos before he sadly disappeared in 2016.
So Hercules could be in that league? Or maybe even bigger?
He certainly could be. The photos and videos are impressive, no doubt about it. He looks immense. But, until we get some official word from the NTCA or the Corbett officials, maybe based on more analysis or unlikely as it is, an actual measurement, that Asia's largest title is still technically speculation. Impressive speculation, but speculation nonetheless.
Got it. Healthy skepticism is needed. But assuming he is that big, what makes a tiger get to that size? Is it just luck of the draw genetically?
Genetics definitely plays a part. He might just come from a line of big tigers, but the environment is hugely important too.
Like the habitat in Corbett.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jim Corbett is prime tiger country. It has a really rich prey base, lots of deer, wild boar, plenty of water, good forest cover for ambushing. It's basically an all-you-can-eat buffet in a safe neighborhood if you're a tiger.
A 5-star resort for tigers, basically.
You could say that. And then age and health matter. He looks like he's in his prime, maybe 5 to 10 years old. That's when males are usually at their biggest and strongest.
Okay, so good genes, great environment, prime age. What else?
One more factor could be dominance. If he's the top cat in his area, the alpha male, he gets the best territory, the best hunting spots, first dibs on kills sometimes. That helps maintain peak condition and size.
It all seems to be lining up for him, but surely there must be downsides to being that big.
That's a really good point. There can be. For one, fuel requirements. A tiger that size needs a lot of food. We're talking maybe 10, even 15 kilograms of meat every single day, on average.
That's a serious grocery bill.
It is. It means more hunting, more energy expended. Also, while size is intimidating, extreme bulk could potentially maybe reduce agility slightly. Doesn't seem to be hindering him, but it's a physical consideration.
And maybe being so noticeable isn't always good.
Exactly. The biggest downside is probably the attention. Yes, tourists love it, researchers are interested, but it also makes him a flashing neon sign for poachers. A tiger that size would be an incredibly valuable target in the illegal wildlife trade. It's a horrible thought.
Yeah, that's really sobering. It kind of shifts the focus, doesn't it? Hercules isn't just this massive individual. He represents something bigger about conservation in India.
He absolutely does. His very existence, especially in a place like Corbett, is a powerful symbol of India's conservation success story with tigers.
Because the numbers have really bounced back, haven't they?
Dramatically. Think about it. Back when Project Tiger started in 1973, the estimate was maybe fewer than 1,800 tigers left in India. By 2022, the official count was 3,682.
Wow, more than double. That's incredible.
It really is. A huge amount of effort has gone into that. Establishing and managing these tiger reserves, there are 58 of them now. And Uttarakhand, as we said, has been a major part of that success, going from 442 tigers in 2018 to 560 in 2022. Corbett is central to that.
And there are international efforts now, too, like that Big Cat Alliance.
Right. India's leading initiatives like the International Big Cat Alliance, sharing expertise globally, it shows a real commitment. But, and there's always a but in conservation.
The challenges remain.
They absolutely do. Habitat loss is still a huge issue as India develops. Poaching hasn't gone away. We saw that suspected poaching death in Champawat, also at Uttarakhand, just this January. And then there's the looming threat of climate change impacting habitats and prey.
So organizations like the Wildlife Crime Control Bureau and the NTCA still have a massive job on their hands.
A constant battle. Hercules is a symbol of hope, but also a reminder that the work is far from finished.
And one of the toughest parts of that work, especially in places like Uttarakhand, where tiger numbers are up, is managing that friction between tigers and people, human-wildlife conflict.
It's perhaps the most complex and sensitive issue. And the statistics are quite stark, really quite heartbreaking. Since the year 2000, in Uttarakhand alone, over 550 people have been killed in encounters with tigers and leopards.
Over 550 people. That's devastating. And thousands more injured, presumably.
Yes, over 1,800 injuries reported in that same period. Just last year, 2023, there were 43 human fatalities in the state linked to these encounters. These aren't just numbers. They represent immense trauma and fear for communities living alongside these predators.
And it happens because, fundamentally, there's just less space. Tigers are expanding. Humans are expanding.
That's the core of it. Conservation success means more tigers needing territory. A big male like Hercules might command, 100 square kilometers. At the same time, human settlements, farms, roads, they push further into forest areas and corridors. Territories overlap. Encounters become inevitable.
I remember hearing about those incidents in Pari district last year.
Yeah.
3 deaths in just 72 hours. They had to close schools, impose curfews.
Exactly. That level of fear is understandable. And it's not just humans getting hurt. Since 2020, 64 tigers have died in Uttarakhand. Some naturally, yes, but others potentially linked to conflict situations or retaliatory actions or poaching.
Plus the loss of livestock, which must hit local farmers really hard.
Immensely hard. Losing cattle or goats can wipe out a family's income. It fuels resentment, makes conservation much harder. The Forest Department tries mitigation, building wildlife underpasses like on the Delhi-Dehradun Highway, running awareness programs, compensation schemes, but finding a truly peaceful coexistence is incredibly difficult.
Shifting focus a bit, what about the impact Hercules himself is having? All this buzz must be affecting tourism in the Fado zone.
Oh, definitely. He's become a major draw card, the Hercules effect, you could call it. And that's, well, it's a double-edged sword.
How so? More tourists means more money for the park, right?
It can, yes. Ecotourism, when done right, generates revenue that can be funneled back into conservation, support local communities, give people an economic reason to protect wildlife. Seeing a magnificent tiger like Hercules is a huge incentive for people to visit.
So the downside.
The downside is the pressure. Too many vehicles, too much noise, people getting too close. It can stress the animals, disrupt their behavior, damage the habitat. We have to be so careful that our fascination doesn't end up harming the very thing we admire.
Especially with social media fanning the flames. Everyone wants that photo, that video. The Bahubali nickname, the speculation. It just amplifies everything.
It does, and you can bet safari operators might start marketing Hercules tours. There will be merchandise, probably. The key is ensuring it all stays within responsible tourism guidelines. Respect the rules, keep your distance, minimize your impact. We're visitors in their home.
Absolutely. So looking ahead for Hercules himself, what's his likely future? He's big, he's dominant.
Well, assuming he stays healthy and safe, he's likely to remain a dominant force in his territory for some years yet. He's a living testament to Corbett's success as a tiger haven.
But the threats are still there. Poaching, conflict.
Always. The Forest Department knows this. They've reportedly increased patrols, using camera traps extensively, even working with border security forces and using sniffer dogs in some areas, especially after recent incidents. Protecting a high-profile tiger like him is surely a priority.
And will we ever get that definitive answer on his size, the Asia's largest question?
It's possible. Maybe not with a scale, but technology is always improving. Perhaps more sophisticated analysis of camera trap photos, using AI to estimate dimensions. Maybe even analyzing hormones or genetics from scat samples could offer clues down the line. If they could somehow confirm he's a record breaker, scientifically, well, that would be another wave of global attention.
So wrapping this up, Hercules is way more than just one big cat.
Absolutely. He's a symbol of hope, showing what conservation can achieve, but also a symbol of the fragility, the ongoing challenges, the delicate balance between wildlife and human needs.
People listening are inspired by his story. What can they actually do?
There are definitely ways to help. Supporting reputable conservation groups working on the ground, like the Wildlife Protection Society of India, WPSI, is one way. They do great work fighting wildlife crime.
And tourism.
Choose responsibly. If you visit these areas, pick operators who follow ethical guidelines, respect wildlife, and benefit local communities. Your tourist money can be a force for good. And, just raising awareness, supporting policies that protect habitats, it all helps.
It really comes down to that balance, doesn't it? Especially for the people who live right there next to these incredible animals.
It does. Hercules is this amazing glimpse of wild power and beauty. His story is a powerful reminder of what we're trying to protect and the responsibility we all share to make sure these magnificent creatures have a future.
A perfect thought to end on. Thank you so much for sharing all this insight today. It's been fascinating.
My pleasure. He's certainly given us a lot to think about.